I think when you said you are the curriculum and happy teachers make a happy school and happy children, I'm short of words now. I'm short of words. So we've taken the questions that have come in. How do we make our children empathetic and free from anger and depression?
Okay, so let me go to some of your questions. Okay. Free from anger and depression. I remember reading something some time ago. It's easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. And I think it's very important that emotional content becomes the content of our work with young children. In our school, we have simple traditions like when they come in each day, the teacher gives them a hug or a handshake and asks the child, how are you feeling? And when you say free from anger, I would think firstly to acknowledge I'm feeling angry because of whatever. So to recognize what we feel and to learn to find a place for those emotions in ourselves and to find good ways of expressing those emotions. I think, therefore, making emotional work the work of the teacher and what happens in a classroom is a very potent way to ensure that our children will grow up to be empathetic with a good emotional literacy.
Right. We go on to the next question. We need to make schools home away from home. How?
I think when we create schools as spaces of love, of belonging, of nurturing relationships, of making memories, of joy, then it's a home away from home. And children then long to be in the school as much as they like to be at home. And they feel at home in the school because they know that they are loved. They belong in that space.
Yeah, I think the biggest sign of a happy school is when a child is longing to come to school.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
When he's not looking for weekends or he's not looking for, he or she is not looking for anything else.
Absolutely.
Just wants to rush.
Yeah.
Right. Do you feel that protecting the child from the outside world and focusing on the world within can have an impact on the adjustment of the child outside the school?
I think alternate schools are often asked these questions, that are we raising children to be in a bubble where there's no competition, a bubble where there's security, a bubble where there's protection. And what happens when these children are then almost thrown into this outside world, which may not have any of this? Would they suffer? My own response to this question is, there is a right time for every right experience. Very young children have less faculty, less possibility to digest the harshness of this world. And for very young children, this protection serves as a sheath in which they can develop sensitivity, they can develop all the qualities that they have come with into this world. And there may come a time where they're actually ready to meet even the harshness of the world. For instance, we take our children in middle and high school every year for weeks together to work in sometimes delinquent camps, in sometimes orphanages or places where there are people with mental health disorders, and they're able to meet it. And of course, they suffer when they see it, but they can meet it because that age allows them a possibility for digestion. But we would never do it for children in the primary years. So I think there is a distinction when a child encounters what kind of experience. Yeah.
I think even as parents, every parent tries to create a bubble around the child.
Yeah.
So what's wrong if the school is also trying to create a bubble and give them a happy atmosphere in their formative years?
Yes.
And then over a period of time when they have developed the capabilities to absorb anything and everything, maybe expose them to everything. I completely in sync with you, Santhya. So the next question that we have, and probably that's the last one, or I don't know, somebody will scroll the screen. How do we inculcate the passion to love in teachers and understand the child first and then get them ready for the learning?
It's an interesting question, isn't it? So I can only give you the metaphor of being a mother. Sorry, I'm unable to bring an image of being a father, but as a mother, when we have the birth of the first child, most of us don't know what to do because we've never been a mother. But we found everything from taking care to educating to everything we found out of our love for this child. If I have to become a better human being so that I could serve my child better, I would do it. And that impulse comes out of my love. And I think, therefore, in our school, for instance, when we are onboarding, when we are selecting teachers, there is only one question: do you love children? And when you can see something glowing in the eyes of a teacher when she talks about children, everything else follows. Out of that striving, out of that love, out of that impulse, that child, that teacher will acquire the competencies he or she needs, because that love is at the driving seat. And therefore, I can only say that I think this is something that people have it or don't have it. Either it's their life path or it isn't. And therefore, if we can find a way to understand if this is truly a calling for somebody or not, then everything else becomes possible.
All right. Santhya, I think you've answered it beautifully. I mean, that when you were explaining the eyes, I could really feel it. I could visualize it. It was so picturesque. All right. Thank you so much. Now